still is, you know. So what are you doing for marketing? It's word of mouth, and I'm doing Facebook, and my Facebook's really generating a lot. I got 500 likes on one of my pages yesterday, and I've got 3,000 followers. But what does that really mean? I mean, you know, if it's a public page, I mean, half of them could be in Australia. You know, it's not a really targeted market, and you don't have any information on these people whatsoever to really follow up and do an offer if it's a free page. Is that correct, sir?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, and anyways, but they believe that their work or their postings on the Facebook is actually marketing, and it is helping them. But as we know, when we dig in, the results are very small, if any.
Well, and likes really don't mean anything, right? I don't know. I think we were just looking at it. We spent over $250,000 on Facebook the last couple of years, something to that effect. But I don't care about likes. It doesn't matter how many likes we have. The only thing that a like is perhaps even a little bit useful for is for you to then turn around and pay Facebook again to get in front of those people, right? I mean, that's really about it. So what you're not worrying about, and again, it's in the early days of websites, I still hear it bandied about from time to time. People would talk about how many hits they have, right? If I'm a martial arts school, all I care about is how many enrollments I get. How many enrollments I get, how long I keep them, what they're paying me, right? If I step back from enrollments, all I care about is intros, how many people showed up at my school that I have a chance to sell. I can step back a step before that, and all I care about is how many inbound calls or how many leads I have that I can initiate and talk to them. And what I don't care about is I don't care about page visits. I don't care about likes. I don't care about all that stuff. With a website, you know, I'm watching for how many unique visitors, but I'm looking at that from a standpoint of where did they come from? In other words, are they from Australia or from a 3 or 4 mile radius around my school? And then what's my conversion rate? What percentage of them gave me contact information? What percentage of those people did I manage to get on the phone and make an appointment with? That's, I mean, really all I care about, right? I'm not at all concerned about whether I've got a like on a page, a comment on a page, social media interaction. I'm really not concerned about all that stuff. There's an argument to be made that you want to generate some viral traffic, right? Shares and all that stuff. But, you know, 99% of your effectiveness on Facebook and its properties, for sure, are going to be paid media advertising with doing some other free things as support. It's mostly not going to be all of the quote-unquote social element to it, right? What would you add to that, Bob?
Yeah, I mean, it's imperative that you have some sort of call to action. Otherwise, it's just, it's like any other Facebook page out there. You don't know where they're coming from. You don't really know who they are. You don't know, and you can't really follow up on the market. I guess if you did a paid advertisement, you could get back in front of them. Again, the only way you could actually, you know, you're dependent on them to respond to you. So, yeah, I mean, what you just said as far as generating buzzes and doing some live feeds, that's all fine and dandy. But, I really challenge anybody to see what kind of, or take a look at what kind of results they actually have gotten off of any of that. And just from that type of, campaign in itself.
Yeah. Well, and now that we've dissed all of that part of it, let's talk about what are some things that you can do on the free element that, you know, will have a little bit of an impact. And then let's shift to really how to go about advertising in a focused and effective way. On the free side, you think about some of the things that you can do. You can be getting your students to go like the page. If I have a birthday party, for instance, I could live cast that birthday party and get the birthday parents, the other participants to share that with their friends. That's not a bad deal to do. If I have a belt graduation, so I have everybody coming in and celebrate and doing that, I could live cast that and boost that post out to everybody who has liked my page and to a targeted audience. That's again, those things are free. They're relatively easy to do. it's a little bit valuable, right? Now, before you go too far down that path, there's a very big marketer I was watching recently, and they were doing a whole series of like TV shows on Facebook, and they just terminated them all, and they shifted over to YouTube for that. And their comment is doing long form video on Facebook is like putting a TV screen on the side of a highway where everybody's blasting past it 70 miles an hour, right? It really is true that when somebody's looking at Facebook on a mobile, normally they're in a situation where they're distracted, they're multitasking, they're somewhere else. So getting somebody to watch an hour and a half, 2 hours on that is probably not terribly likely most of the time. However, live casting your belt graduation, live casting an intramural tournament, live casting a demonstration you do, live casting a belt graduation, those are all valuable things, especially given that it's inexpensive, it's very easy to do, the technology is easy to do. So I would do those things. Every new student who comes in and enrolls, doing a picture with you and the student, preferably with a black backdrop, that's your school name and website and so forth, congratulations and welcome, that type of thing where you tag them and send it to them and they share it, that's useful. Bob, what are some of the other things you've seen our members do that's fairly useful?
Yeah, if you just said it, I don't know, sorry, black belt testing. They're promoting their black belt tests or any belt inaugurations or any rankings that they might do so that their undergrads can actually take a look at it and see what the benefits are and the values. So that would be a great opportunity to live cast on Facebook so all of your students can kind of watch what's going on if they weren't able to make it there in person. Yeah. It's a great opportunity for you to utilize it and really promote the value of what the program is about. I mean, there's, of course, I'm sure everybody on here knows that I could have been seeking out, let's say BJJ walks into, let's say, a karate school. I mean, most of them that walk through the school really don't know one style from the other. So it comes to the school owner to educate the prospect once they walk in the door and dig in to find out what problems they're looking to solve and to really demonstrate or explain the values of the program that they have to offer and how they can really benefit and help that person individually. So Facebook is a great platform to really show the plethora of areas that you really can, help some people out at, and they can take a peek at, anyway.
Yeah, well, and so some of the things that you should make sure you do, other than paid advertising, is make sure that your Facebook page has a ton of 5-star reviews, right? We really care nowadays about reviews, and the two places that I'm most interested in reviews are Google Local, Google Business Page, and in Facebook. Because if I am advertising in Facebook and they click over, I want them to see, 152 5-star reviews or something like that. One of the best ideas I've heard, and was from one of our members from Ram de Pena, is with students, he does a little progress update a couple months into the program. This would be pre-test or as part of the renewal process. And in that progress update, one of the questions he added to the conversation is, assuming that they're excited and they're, singing his praises, one of the question would be is, I don't know, Ms. Jones, have you guys had a chance to do a review for the school on Facebook and on Google? Well, no, we really hadn't thought about doing that. Would you mind if would you mind doing that for us? Oh, no, not at all. Well, let me show you how to do that. And so he'd have them get their cell phone out right then and there. You can text them over the link to the Facebook page, text them over the link to the Google page for the maps.google.com, where your school for the ratings are. And he'd say, would you mind giving us a nice rating, and preferably a 5-star rating on Google and then on Facebook? Oh, no, not at all, right? And he generated, well over 100 5-star reviews pretty quickly, right? So, well, the only one caveat is make sure they're not on your school Wi-Fi when you do it. Google will start banning you because they all come from the same IP address. So you do want to just, the only caveat is make sure that they're on their cell signal if you do it that way, not on your Wi-Fi. I've seen people do it that way, and then all of a sudden they get themselves boycotted and banned, and that's not a good thing. So on your Facebook business page, you want to make sure you've got lots of 5-star reviews. You want to make sure your phone number is there, that a powerful call to action, the link over to your website. You can embed something like LeadPages. You can embed the opt-in form from LeadPages into your Facebook page, right, Merrick? So you can actually have that embedded there. And then what happens is if they give you contact information on the Facebook page, it's feeding it into the back end, so you're getting it out of Facebook, right? So you do want to do that. The other thing I would do is anytime you can get a video testimonial, and there's a lot of, we won't spend much time right now talking about how to do that, but anytime you can get a video testimonial, make sure you post it in your Facebook page, but also post it up in YouTube with all the right tags. When we talk about SEO, we'll talk more about YouTube and video sharing and syndication and so forth. But it is useful to get lots of little video testimonials. And nowadays with your iPhone, in fact, you can get a little lavalier mic, wireless or plug-in, and put a little lavalier mic. You can have the class going on in the background, ask them questions, get clear audio, have you know, as good a video as you're ever gonna need in your hand, and then post a bunch of really glowing testimonials. That's something that's useful, and then you can share those out. So there's a lot of things that you can do. What I never want to do is think that because I'm posting a bunch of stuff in Facebook that's really going to turn into a bunch of paid traffic or a bunch of enrolled students, I guess is what I meant to say. What I realize is most of what's going to work from any of these media is paid advertising. That's why Facebook is a multi-billion-dollar company. That's why they have billions to the bottom line. That's why Google is a multi-billion-dollar company. It's not that they're making all these millionaires and billionaires because they're giving stuff away. They're making millionaires and billionaires because they're selling it. So you've got to realize that while it may still be relatively inexpensive compared to some other sources, it is a place you have to pour money and sometimes pour a lot of money into, right? So let's shift gears for a moment. If there's any questions,
I had a couple of questions that came up real quick. So David, can you show an example of a good successful landing page? I've had 60 plus visitors to my landing page from a Facebook ad, and only one person filled out the form.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Dave, I'd love to see what the page looks like that you're using as well. Well, one of the things that I like, and again, there's a lot of good tools. I'm not pitching any of them. We're not, getting paid by any of these guys. But one of the things I like about LeadPages.net is when you go in to look at the templates they have available, they will sort them for you based upon the average conversion rate of the page, right? So you're not now guessing. They'll give you, here's the number one converting template, number two converting, and they have hundreds of them, but in order of what the conversion rate is. Somebody in the other Joy, it says something about
Joy. I believe that's Joy, a brand new member. 5-star Yelp reviews ? Send links to your Yelp page ? I guess so. How about 5-star Yelp reviews? I remember them being referenced to the same as or being compared to the mafia, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, the one place I guess I care about Yelp reviews is that Apple Maps, when you search for a business or you're mapping a business through Apple Maps, they pull up the Yelp reviews. So it's one of the few places where you'll see the Yelp reviews as opposed to see the Google reviews. And Dave, we'll come back to that landing page thing just for a second as well. Oh, and you gave us a link. I'm happy to look at that. Maybe we can even share that page as we go. But the nice thing about something like LeadPages is they give you what the landing page conversion rates are. And I will say your conversion rates, David, are horrible. But let me finish the conversation about Yelp briefly, as we interjected it. Is I don't really believe, and I don't have any data to support this really. But that many people go and look at Yelp in order to evaluate a martial arts school. Now, if I was a restaurant, I might be really concerned about Yelp. But I would not give Yelp money to be marketing or advertising on Yelp. And Bob, that's what Better Business Bureau and Yelp, much more blatantly worse and crookedly is really the mafia protection business, now funneled by the internet. But the one place I am concerned about Yelp ratings is if somebody goes into Apple Maps and they're navigating to your school or they're looking you up on Apple Maps. That's the one place that there are, they do pull Yelp ratings. So I'd like to have a few, and certainly if anybody goes in and gives me a bad review on Yelp, I'd want to offset it with 3 or 4 or 5-star reviews so it balances it out. So I'd be aware of, do what do you call it, vanity searches from time to time, and take a look at how you look and how you stand there. And David has shared his landing page, and so let's see if I get the technology to work properly, Bob. But I'm going to see if I can. Let's see. How do I share? Share. Let's see. It's this one. Can you guys see that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there's the landing page that David was talking about. And David, we can certainly find some to show you, but let's start with taking a look at yours. First of all, this is something that I didn't chat about, but we could talk for quite a while about whether I want to get name and email address, just email address, or whether I want to get phone number or more information. I personally rarely ever do an opt-in form without getting a phone number. And I almost always do at least either a one step where I'm getting okay, so here we have, everybody sees what the landing page is once I opt in. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of the points of logic on this one. I've got a testing coupon 50% off. Well, if I'm a prospect, I have no idea what that means. 50% off your belt testing. Well, that then brings up the issue of, well, what do you mean I have to pay for belt testing, and how does all that work? So I would never have that as a landing. What I would have is some kind of countdown clock with a free offer. We've had offer be a free month of lessons, and then the countdown clock is it gives them another free month. And what we'll do is do the enrollment on the second lesson and then add the 2 months now free to the end. And so they get a second free month if they call right now, right? But the logic of the testing coupon completely misses what's going on in the prospect's mind and takes it out of sync. What I do want to do on the landing page, usually I'll do a 2-step. So if I had name, email, phone number on the first page, the second page will be a more complete sales presentation, asking them for mailing address and trying to get them to call. But what's some of the most successful ones I've seen recently for our members is actually a countdown clock on this page. And it's if you call us within the next 60 minutes or 30 minutes, we'll give you a second month free and throw in a $50 value uniform or something like that. David, does that help a little bit so far? And so let's see if I can backspace up to that. That didn't work. Let me see here. Okay, can you see that okay now, Bob?
It's just the landing page there.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to go back to.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so now we've got a coupon voucher at the top that, frankly, is a little bit too complicated for me to figure out if I'm looking on my iPhone in the dentist office, right? It's got some legal gobbledygook, valid for new students only, limit 1 voucher per student, purchase a membership required, other restrictions may apply. I'd get rid of all of that crap. You know, you don't want that to be the headline, right? And, you know, I've got a free uniform voucher. See, the offer is pretty convoluted. Is you have buried in there, you're gonna get a month of unlimited classes, but you lead, the headline is a coupon for uniform, and then here is your free uniform voucher. So the logic of how the page flows is a little bit out of sync. David, does that make sense so far? And so when I'm looking at this, what I would want to do is I'd want to have a powerful headline. Graphics are fine and useful, but I would want it to be, you know, maybe if I'm going to do a month of unlimited classes, and there's, you know, nothing wrong with that as an offer, I tend to default to 2 weeks as a free offer because I like the way they convert better. But I would have a powerful headline, you know, register now to receive a free month of lessons, $149 value. And then you could have, once they opt in, you could have a countdown clock that says if you call us within the next 30 minutes or within the next 60 minutes, we'll double the offer to 2 months free, plus we'll give you a $50 free value uniform, something like that. So as you walk through that, and Bob, remind me, and I'll come be prepared with some better landing pages for people to look at next time that are specific, so I'm not searching for them while we're live here. But it is a good question, David. I'll be happy to give you one. I'll give you several. If you want to look at what's been pretty consistent for us over the years as basically the embedded website landing page, go to freekarate.com and then click on the appropriate link. And once you land on that link, that would be, you know, an HTML, probably WordPress landing page. But if I look at the opt-in page, see, if I was only doing email, I wouldn't even bother to ask for name, because my only follow-up mechanism, David, once you get an email address, is to send them email. And I want everybody to write this down because it is important, is anchor in that email is dying a slow and painful death. Doesn't mean that you can't get it to work okay. Here, I'm going to stop the share and get back on video here for a second. But the first thing is on the opt-in is email is dying a slow and painful death. So if my only ability to follow up with somebody is to send them emails, I am really limited on my ability to follow up, right? And although I want to encourage them to call us, I also want to have the ability to text them. I want the ability for an automated voicemail to go out. I want the ability to be able to pick up the phone and call them. And I also want to have the ability to mail them stuff, snail mail, you know, put things in their mailbox. And I also want to have the ability, and with an email address, you can do that. With full contact information, you're better. I want to have the ability to retarget them, to retarget them on Facebook, to retarget them on Google. David mentioned, you know, having 50 people who land on the page, only one opted in. You know, I'd rather see that be 20 to 30%. You're probably not going to ever get, you know, anywhere near 100%. But if I have people, I'm always going to have people who show up the page and don't opt in. But if I put the HTML code from Google, and, you know, Facebook calls it a pixel, but it's just an HTML code that Facebook generates. If I put that code on the page, Now what happens if somebody lands on that page and doesn't opt in, I can retarget them. Frankly, if somebody lands on the page and does opt in, I could have a code on the next page and I can retarget them with a different ad. You've probably seen us do that. If you go to martialartswealth.com and opt in there, you'll see all kinds of follow-up. You'll see text message, voicemail. You know, if you're qualified, Bob will call you. You'll see postcards go out. All kinds of stuff happen. But what happens, email, all I can do really is email them. I can also upload it into Facebook and Google for retargeting. With the HTML code, I can retarget them even if they don't give me contact information. But if I get a phone number, now I can text them, I can call them, and I can automate a voicemail to them. And then if I get a mailing address, I can mail to them. So you want to go deeper and deeper and deeper into getting more contact information. Bob, talk about, you know, you do a lot of this, the difference between having just an email address versus having a wide range of follow-up mechanisms to get somebody face-to-face with you.
Night and day. Yeah, I mean, like you said, email is dying a painful, I think a fast death, but anyways, yeah, I don't have, I'm trying to even think of if I've had any dialogue really back and forth through email where we were having a discussion about how we could even help someone. I mean, all the communication today is text is very powerful. So a lot of times I get into conversations through text today, but always by talking to the person. And truly, I mean, you have to be able to ask questions and have dialogue. So you can't really do that with email. I mean, they'll send you a question, but they may have another question that's underlying that question, and it just goes nowhere, you know, when you're trying to communicate that way. But what was the other thing you had? So, I mean, definitely phone conversation, text is very valuable. Our mechanisms that we have is just that. It triggers off. Definitely you put in a phone number. We do we'll reach out to you right away if it's somebody we think we can really help, and give a call, leave a message. We have follow-up sequences, text, a voicemail that'll go out, and leave a message as well to call in, set up a time where we can actually speak. A series of postcards that'll go out after that, which is always driving you to call back and give us, you know, to talk to us. So everything's driving back to the phone. I mean, that's the bottom line, to get somebody live on the phone so you can have some type of dialogue, find out what problems they're looking to solve, what they're looking to accomplish, and gives you the opportunity to expand on that. I'm not going to do that through email.
You bet. Let's shift to actual paid advertising on Facebook, and this landing page is a good start. But here are some things to to keep in mind when you're actually going in and paying for advertising. Just some big generalities. Is Facebook, their own numbers show as much as 80% of the result of an individual ad. In other words, 80% of the likelihood of somebody clicking on it and ending up looking at your landing page is in the graphics. So much more so than almost any place else, what the picture looks like is important. The nice thing about Facebook and Google and all of these billionaire marketing platforms is they have gotten very good at what's called A/B split testing. So I can go in and do an ad, and let's say I do the same ad, but I give it 5 different pictures. They'll run it, and then all of a sudden they'll figure out which of those pictures is pulling better, and then they'll just start showing that one, and you can go get rid of the ones that aren't working. Now, it's a very sophisticated algorithm behind the scenes. They want to be sophisticated because they don't want visibility for you. They want clicks because they're getting paid on clicks in most cases. So they want response. What they also want, and Google and Facebook have been very smart about this, is they know that if they're showing their customer, not you, not the person who's paying them, but they're showing their Facebook members, if they're showing them stuff that they don't want to see, that it lessens the impact of people being on Facebook, if they're showing them things that they want to see, they're more likely to be there and click around and right. So what they want is stickiness. They want to suck you in and keep you there as long as possible, which, by the way, we should all resist. But from an advertising standpoint, the photograph is a big issue. So you always want to put several different iterations of photographs that tie directly to the ad. But then what you want to have is the visuals on the ad match the visuals on the landing page. In other words, don't just create like David's page that we just showed. Don't create one landing page that then you send everything to. Create one that's visually congruent with the ad that they're seeing, right? So you can, if you have a certain picture that's working or you have several, have those pictures be the same on the landing page. If you have obviously an offer on the ad, make sure the offer on the landing page is congruent. Make sure the branding is congruent, but most importantly, make sure that when they click, their reaction isn't, oh, that's not what I was looking for. Google Analytics calls that the bounce rate. How many people click, show up there, and their reaction is, oh, that's not what I was looking for, right? You want to avoid bounce rate by having it be congruent so that they immediately click onto that it is what they were looking for. What would you add to that, Merrick? You've looked at a lot of these logs and stats and analytics. What are you seeing as some of those most important things for getting them to stick there and getting them to opt in?
Well, I just wanted to real quick, and then I'm sorry, Merrick, and then I'll let you go, but to jump in, to also change those out. I mean, it's, don't continuously run that same image for long periods of time. Always test it and always change the image because people are going to get tired of it. Oh, I've already seen that before. So it will burn itself out eventually, no matter how good it's doing in the beginning. So just wanted to interject that. Go ahead, Merrick. Sorry.
Yeah, and there's probably a cycle of maybe 3 to 6 weeks where you want to make sure you make a pretty dramatic change.
Gotcha.
And by the way, we see that, if I was doing TV advertising in the past, I didn't just stay consistent every week. I did a ton up front. I would flight it. I'd do a ton up front, wean it off, go away, do a ton up front again. This kind of advertising is just the broadcast media. So the same idea works. Even with something like rack cards. If you go get 300 locations out with rack cards and you don't change it from one that's blue with a headline of some sort to red with a different headline to green with a different headline, people walking in Dairy Queen stop seeing it, right? Bandit signs, banner on the building. These are all the same things. It's just online in a venue like Facebook, not Google, right? Google is not like they're out searching for martial arts lessons every week and then they're going to see it every week. But in Facebook, if you're showing it a lot, if you have a lot of frequency out there, you can get them to ignore it pretty quickly. So that's when you have to be changing out the art. So Merrick, give them some thoughts on the conversion rates there for these things.
Yes, like Master Oliver said, your offer should match the same design, on different media platforms. So the people see you on Facebook, on Google, on your website, so they still recognize is that that offer is the same offer, same picture, maybe a little bit more information on each page, but still visually it's very helpful if the offer looks the same. Yeah. Let's say for 2 weeks it's the same offer, then you change to different offer. So you might change the backgrounds, the pictures, but if you see the offer on the website, I saw that on Facebook. So it's like they are sure it is the same offer. They receive a mail. Oh, this is the mail. I saw this. So if they see you a few times on different media platforms, it's easier to them to opt in. They kind of build trust. They read about you there. They saw something about there. They saw your reviews. So why not? So it's like few more steps got together, but the design is very important. So it's not like I see the same offer on the white background, there is something else, the same benefits, but is that them? So they might be confused, but if you stuck to your design, to your colors, to your logo, so this is a good thing to have in place. This helps a lot.
Absolutely. And we're going to run out of time pretty quickly. If anybody has any questions, feel free to jump in there.
see, Joy has another one. Responsive design versus mobile device detection sent to mobile. Optimized with subdomain, question mark.
Well,
Responsive design versus mobile device detection sent to mobile.
yeah. Well. Nowadays, any web page that you have up, really, and this gets to an SEO question as well. It really has to be mobile friendly, right? It needs to scale and present itself. And well, I don't even know how long ago it was now. 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. Everybody was busy reserving .mobi domain names and trying to do mobile sites and so forth. That really went by the wayside pretty quick, as it should have gone. What the transition is that any web page you do, especially anything that's designed to be a landing page from an environment like Facebook, is you should look at the design from a mobile friendly perspective first and foremost. So if it's coming from Facebook, it's 90% plus likely that it's coming from a mobile. If it's coming from Instagram, it's 90% plus likely that it's coming from a mobile. And even Google searches and things like that nowadays, they may be more likely to come from a desktop or more likely to come from a laptop, but mostly they're going to be mobile nowadays anyway. So you want to, Joy, you want to make sure that any web page, if you're having a webmaster designer put them up, however you're doing it, that it all scales appropriately for mobile. And when you're doing the design, I would look at how it looks on mobile first and then shift it to how it looks on desktop. So my primary focus is how it's looking on a mobile, if that makes sense. What I don't want to do really is try to drive everything to like just a mobile site or just and Merrick, maybe you can speak to that more technically. I think pretty much everything that we're doing is just designed to scale appropriately mobile, not be unique to a mobile platform.
That's right. It's very important that the website scale to the device. Doesn't matter is a tablet or is a telephone, mobile phone, or website. So the offer need to look right on each device.
Right.
So the headline picture scale down, the Optin form show up better. So it's very important that that if somebody uses different devices, that page doesn't look broken. Because when it looks broken, you're losing trust. So make sure your website and offer is responsive and mobile friendly. That's really important.
Yeah, and going back to David's landing page that we showed. See, I see a lot of people trying to make their website, their landing pages, trying to make it corporate, right? This one was Elite Black Belt Training by Village Taekwondo, Powell, Ohio. But there really isn't the only picture of a human being is like the middle, from here to the belt, and it's about the uniform offer. I would much rather it be, whoever the owner of the school is, they're talking on video where there's a picture that it's written in a first person, personalized form, that it's all very personal. People buy from people. They don't buy from faceless bureaucracies. And certainly if I'm coming in to do something that's a very personal activity, learn self-defense, learn fitness, learn martial arts from a human being, I would rather see a human being talking to me. At the very least, I would have a attractive female model there welcoming you to try the offer. But probably in most cases, I'd prefer to have the head instructor or the owner, either a picture of them with a student or a video of them talking about the school with classes going on in the background. The more personal you make all of this, the better. That applies to the text message follow-up, the email follow-up, postcards that go out. It applies to the voicemail that goes out on their voicemail. make it personal. Don't try to make it corporate. Don't give it a business face. Give it a human face. Always long. And hey, we've gone a little bit long on this part of the topic. I promise next time we'll get into specifics of how to do advertising. I promise David that I'll bring some examples. I certainly welcome everybody to take a look at freekarate.com. It's not specifically a dedicated landing page for a martial arts school, but I will come a little bit prepared with some other examples to show everybody next time. And
I don't know if everybody's on our, looks like there's a few members on here though, but non-members, we do have our Facebook group. That's a closed group. They're welcome to go there. Maybe we can put a couple of samples up there. And if anybody does want to set a time to talk, always feel free to give me a call. My number is 720-256-0208. And it's 720-256-0208.
Yeah, and I certainly see Everett, our one of our newest members, Jeff Cash, Jim Brown.
Joy is also, and
Ken Gibson, Rudy, Stephen Simi, and Joseph Walker, and Chris Hong, who are all our Martial Arts Wealth members. I probably missed a few there as well. So welcome, guys. Jack D'Souza. So welcome, guys. You're, as always, welcome to be involved with any of these things. Hopefully today was a little bit valuable for you. For anybody who's not a member, give Bob a call, and we'd love to give you some more feedback on your school and give you a bunch of free bonuses. But we'll be back on next Wednesday, and I promise we'll pick up where we finish and spend some more time on Facebook advertising before we shift into SEO, before we shift into web page design and landing pages and all that stuff from there. So thank you, Merrick, for your wonderful contributions, and Bob, as always. And,
yes, sir.
And thanks to everybody for joining us. And everybody who registered for this program, the recording of this meeting, of last week's meeting, are all up on the web page. You should have gotten that link by email as well. We're going to put some other bonus materials and stuff up there for you as well. But you can go back and watch the replay, or if you missed last week, you can watch last week's replay as well. So thanks all, and have a great day.
Take care.
Thank you.